Ye Wenhui, President Bai Fengchuan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the thematic event of the 4th Chain Expo. If the industry is an benchmark, and then the chain supply service is the bridge. Today we have invited many experts from this industry and talk about, in the context of digital times, how to provide a stable and safe supply chain. First, let's welcome Mr. Ye Wenhui to give an opening speech. Welcome. Distinguished President Bai Fengchuan, Mr. Wang Kang, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to gather here in the 4th Chain Expo and jointly attend the theme event. On behalf of the CCPIT and CCISCE, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all the participants and express my sincere gratitude to all the friends who have given us support. And taking this opportunity, I'd like to share with you 3 words. 1, transformation. The world today is witnessing accelerated transformation in the century with interwoven shifts in geopolitics, trade, investment, technology and industry, energy resources, and regulatory governance. Amid uncertainty and instability, global production and supply chains have shifted from prioritizing efficiency to balancing efficiency with resilience. Trends toward fragment, localization, and short supply chains have become pronounced. Strategic corridor security has grown increasingly critical, and risks associated with enterprises relying on single logistics channels have risen significantly. Over the past 2 months, the World Bank's global supply chain stress has approached 2020 peak level, and uncertainty in identifying risks and strengthening compliance, adjusting supply chain structures, supplier portfolios, technological approaches, and inventory strategies have become essential tasks for enterprises. And the traditional transportation to the upward stream and the low carbon and the digital safety. Second word is link. The world economy faces numerous bottlenecks and challenges. Supply chains hinge on strengthening interconnections as the world's integrated supply chains with increasingly distinct characteristics and tender links, significantly enhancing coordination upon upstream, midstream, downstream, facilitating collaboration between large and small enterprises, promoting synergy among industries between Chinese and international companies. Over the past 3 years, a total of 193 enterprises participated in the supply chain service exhibition, and another 77 companies making a remarkable appearance this year. Among them, 19 enterprises, including China Foreign Transport Group, and present throughout the entire event. Enterprises in supply chain service sector leveraging the chain as platform to enhance collaboration. The third word is digital intelligence. Currently, digital and intelligent technologies represented by AI profoundly reshape the global development landscape. With digital economy entering a new phase of smart economy, the concept of digital intelligence permeates every aspect of our lives. And the digital intelligent technology chain, intelligent vehicle chain, artificial intelligence zone showcase application scenarios smart construction, intelligent manufacturing, smart logistics, host thematic activities, and digital intelligence foundation building. AI and digital technologies have become the core drivers of a supply chain economy. In this session, we look forward to gaining insights into innovation applications of AI in supply chain through presentations from Industry Bank, Signal Flag. Ladies and gentlemen, President Xi Jinping has expressed high expectations for China CCPIT to strengthen its network and will bridge government business, integrate domestic and international efforts, and connect legal and commercial sectors with 1,299 local and industrial level trade promotion institutions, 30 overseas representatives of fish officers. We not only conduct economic and trade research, organize exhibitions, tour forums, and arrange mutual visits between delegations, provide intellectual property services, economic and trade operations, and we actively carry out work related to supply chain services, issuing commercial certifications and other documents, provide services including economic and trade, commercial mediation, intellectual property protection, maritime loss assessment. We are committed to collaborate with all parties to establish high-quality platforms, contribute our expertise to building an efficient and coordinated supply chain service system. At last, I wish this event very success and wish you good health and smooth work. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Xie, for your remarks. Next, let's welcome Mr. Bai Fengchuan. Distinguished Mr. Liu Wenhui, Mr. Liu, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to gather here in this summer-rich city of Beijing for the 4th Chain Expo and jointly attend the supply chain theme event. As a co-organizer of the event, on behalf of CCGA, I'd like to extend warm congratulations and welcome to our gratitude to representatives from home and abroad. This Chain Expo is the world's first national level exhibition on supply chain themes. Since starting, it has consistently upheld the mission of connecting the world and co-creating the future to foster integration across upstream, midstream, and downstream industries, collaborate among large, medium, small enterprises, and synergy between industry, academy, research, and application, and build platforms for Chinese and international companies. Today, we focusing on the theme, working together to connect the world, looking forward to a new future, discussing new opportunities and challenges. Supply chain serves as lifeblood of economy. Only when the lifeline remains unimpeded as entire system can be robust. Currently, the global industry and the supply chain landscape is undergoing profound transformation, with integration and resilience cross-border operations and security as well as digitalization and intelligence becoming key issues of widespread concern. This precisely reflects the original intent behind organizing 3 thematic sessions this event. Through this exchange of ideas and sharing of practical experience, we aim to contribute wisdom and strength toward building global industry and supply chain system that is secure, stable, efficient, open, inclusive, and mutually beneficial. As one of the first national social organizations prioritized for development by Ministry of Social Work and only national organization dedicated to custom affairs, the CCDA has consistently taken prompting trade facilitation, serving an open economy as its mission, playing an important role in bridging the government and markets, as well as domestic and intersection sectors. We fully recognize that modern supply chain services rely not only on efficient and convenient customs clearance environments, secure cross-border circulation, but also robust support from digital and intelligent technologies. Looking ahead, the CCDA is willing to leverage this Chain Expo and supply chain service theme event, strengthen practical collaboration with trade promotion agencies, international organizations, financial institutions, port and logistic enterprises, and we will continue to play our role as bridge and link, and in promoting the alignment of standardization, information sharing, and joint risk prevention. We will do more for a more open, fair, and convenient supply chain service ecosystem. Taking these opportunities, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the support from IGGAC. We're confident that with the backing of government agencies and the relevant institutions and our collective efforts, the supply chain service system will become more harmonious. And at last, I'd like to express our gratitude to co-organizers and for their strong support. And thank you again for all the leaders and guests for your strong backing. We wish the 4th Chain Expo and this themed event of supply chain service a very success, and may you enjoy good health and smooth career. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bai, for your remarks. And next, let's welcome Ms. Fan Leilei, Deputy Inspector at the Enterprise Management Inspection Department of General Administration of Customs, to deliver her speech. Respected Mr. Li and Mr. Bai, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to be here in this important occasion to discuss with you the credit management. As secure, stable, efficient, smooth supply chain serves as a vital safeguard for international economic and trade cooperation. It's a key component of customers' efforts. Credit serves as the cornerstone of supply chain collaboration, aligned with broader objectives of social credit system. The Customs has characterized the management as a key approach to continuously refine credit management framework by focusing on supply chain service, promotes the use of mechanism to stabilize, strengthen supply chain. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to share with you some customs. First, institutional innovation employed a strengthened foundation supply chain credibility. So the General Administration of Customs has aligned with the latest requirements for building national social credit system, establishing high standard custom credit management system. It focus on the developing new customs supervision, providing institutional safeguards on enterprises. On April this year, we have issued the custom measure of administration, and these reforms enhance the precise of credit granting, align sufficient standards, and following the implementation, we have not only expanded opportunities for credit improvement for small, medium-sized cases, and also the new measures further enhance error tolerance through continued optimization of certification standards. Secondly, strengthen supply chain credit entities through targeted circulation and rigorous certification. AEU stands for Certificate Economic Operator. It's an important trade security and efficiency regarded as green pass for international trade. Through comprehensive certification of corporate internal controls, our custom minimize regulatory risks, enhancing global supply chain security and trade facilitation, achieving mutual benefits, and smooth trade between custom authorities and enterprises. We continue to intensify efforts to cultivate the credit worthiness with focus on supporting overall improvement. While on the one hand, we target leading foreign trade enterprises, employing various credit enhancement strategies to strengthen their awareness. On the other hand, certification process are strictly conducted in accordance with established procedures through innovative approaches such as chain-based cultivation group certification. As for now, there are a total of 15,500 China AU enterprises, including 7,580 advanced certificate enterprises and 7,922 certificate enterprises. Accounts for only 2% of all enterprises, but contribute nearly 44% of total trade volume. The contribution has continued to grow, making them core force of the international supply chain. Third, facilitating supply chain operations through targeted measures. We have a total of 45 facilitation measures for AEO certificate enterprises to leveraging big data models for and performance evaluation. And in this year, we have provided many training for the facilitate the many policies. Fourth, we are leveraging AEO mutual recognition. We firmly implement General Xi Jinping's important directive and help Chinese AEU enterprises into global supply chain network. To date, we have agreements with 33 economies across 59 countries and regions, which accounts for the
in terms of the recognized countries and regions, they can enjoy the prioritized treatment and special enterprise coordinator by the corresponding GSCC in different countries and regions when reduce the cost for the trade. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the stability of supply chain is about the trust management, and a high-level trust management will also inject new vigor and vitality into the future. Will also enhance the credibility and management system and guide and incentivize enterprises to follow the integrity operation. With credibility, we can empower high-level supply chain and industrial chain. I wish this forum a full success. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fan. Now let's welcome Vice President of the Export-Import Bank of China, Mr. Wang Kang. Welcome. Respected President Mr. Li, respected Chairman, respected Mr. Bai, respected Ms. Fan, I'm very honored to attend the 4th China International Supply Chain Expo, the Supply Chain Service Session, to discuss the future opportunities with all of you. President Xi Jinping has highlighted that in the economic globalization era, we want to follow global industrial chain, supply chain, opening up, and cooperation. In this way, we can support high-level development. The International Supply Chain Expo is the national level expo focusing on supply chain and industrial chain. Different companies can enjoy this platform for showcasing their abilities and enhancing matchmaking and cooperation. It has served as an important bridge for enterprises and abroad. As an important institution serving international opening up and cooperation, China Import and Export Bank has also supported the stability and safe and sound operation and smooth operation of supply chain. We promote open economy. First, through interconnectivity, we support railway, highway, and airport and port large-scale infrastructures. With industry clusters and industry project cooperation, we can build infrastructure-based and industry recycling and industry smooth operation. With industry focus, industry campus, we can guide the clusters of different companies, such as the Green Mountain area in Indonesia and Senegal, among other important operations across the whole world. We hope the host countries to enhance global operation. Third, through the chains, we focus on industry chain and supply chain. We can extend the operation upstream and downstream. We can continue to create the industry chain and the supply chain cooperation. Fourth, with wisdom and intelligent operation with professional brands and talents, we can provide the investment consultation services and the financing services, and we can support you to seize the market opportunities and prevent the risks. And we can also enhance the cross-border RMB settlement services and help enterprises avoid the risks and reduce the shorten the cycle for operation of capital through joint financing and consortium loans and on-lending interbank cooperation of the loans. We can enhance the industry supply chain. In this way, we can enhance the mutual complementarity to enhance the global supply chain stability and operation. Is an important part of the guarantee for global economy. It's in line with the core interests of all countries across the whole world. We're witnessing profound changes, and unilateralism has also been on the rise. Global supply chain has suffered negative impact. To improve the resilience of our industrial chain and enhance our resistance against risks can be very crucial. CCPIT has created a new platform of the exhibition, and the International Supply Chain Expo will become the global expo and a global public product to promote the upstream, midstream, and downstream enterprises and industry and research and universities working with each other. In this way, we can deal with the bottlenecks. In this way, we can improve the efficiency. These are pragmatic approaches to promote the upstream and downstream cooperation of the industrial chains and supply chains. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, openness can lead to cooperation for win-win results. Our bank would like to work with all of you to take on the opportunities of this expo to enhance industry chain, supply chain cooperation to create an open and inclusive global industrial supply chain. In this way, we can contribute to global economic recycling and global people's livelihood. I wish this event a full success. Thank you, President Wang. Now let's enter the keynote speech session. The very first speaker is about the enterprise's responsibility and the planning of the reshaping of a global supply chain. Mr. Liu Ping, Director of China Customs Brokers Association Overseas Services Expert Committee. Welcome. Respected Chairman Ni, respected President Bai, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good afternoon. I'm very honored to be here to meet all of you during the Supply Chain Expo to talk about the corporate responsibility and the strategic planning amid the reshaping of global supply chain. I will talk about three aspects. First is about the reshaping of global supply chain and the governance practice of international organizations. And the second is about the supply chain in the 15th five-year plan period and tasks and responsibilities of the business community. The third part is about the corporate supply chains for international expansion, strategic planning, and management. First, let's look at the reshaping of global supply chains and the international trade trend and the future for features. First, let's look at the rebalance of the efficiency and resilience. In recent years, geopolitical risks and trade protectionism have been on the rise, and we have a growing concern about supply chain security, critical minerals and advanced technologies, and the return of manufacturing industries and industry policies. The weaponization of the trade policies, economic sanctions, and export control tariff has become the major weapons. This lead to the risks and uncertainty for supply chain. The core issue of supply chain management is about efficiency first, shift to efficiency and performance, dynamic balance. Second, regional economic integration is accelerating. More closely integrated with geopolitical factors. And we need to seek cooperation with the countries and regions with the same value, and we have a diversified supply chain and strategic competitiveness, and we should also recognize the changes of major trade partners, USA, EU, and India, and UK, and Global South market represented by Brazil, ASEAN, and UAE. They have presented major features. With this major transformation, supply chain regionalization has been more salient. And you can see we have the nearshore friend and offshore outsourcing, which is emerging, reflecting a shift toward greater diversification and flexibility. Third, greening of trade ESG. The extensive due diligence obligations regarding supply chain have been further strengthened. Forced labor implementation enforcement has been strengthened, as well as CBAM of EU implementation will be expanded this year. 6 categories of goods: the steel, cement, fertilizers, electric products, and aluminum. They should pay for the barriers, so they pay for the tariffs, and it will cover 180 categories such as steel and aluminum and downstream products and machinery and household appliances in order to deal with the responses and concern. The ESG laws and regulations have been pending and delayed, and it has also been strengthened in terms of the intensity. Last part is about trade digitalization. Digital technologies can also drive governance, and we have a great potential based on WTO data. By 2040, AI-driven trade is projected to grow by 37%. Global GDP will up by 12 to 13%. More countries have been committed to implementing international rules and standards for digital trade, such as the Digital Transferable Law letter by UN and DEPA, as well as the regional trade protocols related to digital trade and digital law have been on the rise. DSI has supported a globalized, interoperable global trade and digital ecosystem. Now let's look at the governance practices of international organizations. Against globalization, the rules-based competition is crucial for countries to engage in global competition. Global practice has highlighted that different organizations should coordinate laws and regulations and standards to secure the global trade order. However, geopolitical trade-off has presented new challenges. Based on the WTO research, Against the escalating global trade countries, China and other members of WTO have maintained and secured the global world order. The 14th ministerial meeting has yielded major fruits. However, for major critical issues, they have not been solved outside of WTO. Based on Donald Trump's trade agreement, large-scale trade wars have been avoided. From 2025, the global share of MFN trade stands at 72%. Global goods have also enhanced the trade volume. The global trade volume up by 46%, and you can see China has more diversified trade partners, even though China-US trade has been on a downward spiral. And CISCE 2025 has been approved by WTO, by the World Customs Organization last year. And we build a more inclusive, sustainable, and resilient global trade ecosystem. As Mr. Fan has mentioned, NU is a new part of our text this year, and you will enjoy more convenience. And the WTO has also promoted green customs and customs conveniences. Against background of global supply chain reshaping, through changing the business environment, we can improve national competitiveness. China is also dedicating itself to promoting law-based, market-based, and international top-notch business environment. Major international organizations and cross-border business environment have also been upgraded, such as World Economic WTO, World Economic Forum, GCI 4.0. Among 140 economies, China ranked number 31, and the World Bank Be Ready 2025 research based on the data published. China's import-export goods and digital trade efficiency, we have 97.18. ranking 13, and then World Bank LPI 2.0, China ranked about number 20 across 139 economies, and we have the World Organizations of Economic Cooperation and Development TFI, and World Customs Organization TIS 4.0, and United Nations Global Survey on Digital and Sustainable Trade Facilitation 2025. It has been updated each year. In terms of supply chain task during the 15th five-year plan, in terms of the core tasks of the 15th five-year plan, we'll have the modern industrial system and improve the self-control caliber of and self-reliance of strengths of our own sci-tech and supply chain. For tasks, we should follow innovation-driven and deal with the bottleneck issues and achieve self-proprietary sci-tech. Second, we should have the deployment of industry chain and supply chain and build a diversified network. Third, promote industry integration and improve the added value at a holistic approach. Fourth, expand high-level opening up and engage in the reshaping of global supply chain. CISCE is our national guardian, standing at the frontier of our national gate in securing our safety and building a strong China. We have our obligation, and we need to facilitate development. In fulfilling 15th five-year plan, we have 4 standards. We can safeguard or serve as a guardrail of our national country, of our national borders, and empower high quality development and deepen international cooperation, such as the establishment of holistic and whole-factor risk prevention. Different risk factors should be declined outside of national borders and promote the cross-border convenience and high-quality clearance of the goods and promote the high-quality development of the customs. We support enterprises to expand diversified market and promote green trade of the intermediate goods and enhance the single window interconnectivity. It is about domestic and domestic online, offline connection and connect with the cross-border partners and enhance NU scope and support enterprises to go global, enjoying more convenience. You can see WCO support global smart platform. China has engaged in the global custom reform and it is practice, the best case of practice. We should improve our competitiveness and consolidate traditional manufacturing competitiveness, innovation-driven from made in China to created in China. Third, optimize resources to achieve global deployment and localized operation. Fourth, the compliant operation and practice CSR and engage in global governance. China's supply chain and industrial chain have our own core strengths, which has been showcased here in the supply chain expo. At the supply side, you can see we have full-fledged system and we have innovation-driven. From the demand side, you can see we have the super large market and open and inclusive ecosystem as well. As the national level, very first supply chain expo, we serve as the bridge connecting domestic and international companies. With this strength, China has the necessity and the capacity to contribute our wisdom. We follow multilateralism and secure the global order and promote global governance order reform. Second, promote Belt and Road Initiative cooperation and establish mutually beneficial and win-win opening and inclusive supply chain network. Third, engage in and guide global standards and global rule-based development, enhance our say in this process, and enhance our responsibility as a major country and a major power. China will also consolidate import and export and promote the balance, expand green trade, connect with the global highest caliber, high standard cooperation. Let's focus on the supply chain management on businesses go global. In terms of planning and management of supply chain for enterprises going global, we should have diversified supply chain structure. We should have the 1+N model expanding into ASEAN and Southeast Asia, Middle East and Latin American countries, deal with different risks with flexibility. Second, digital and intelligent empowerment of supply chain. In terms of the compliance requirement, sometimes manual work would be far from enough. We should have the we should look at the Internet of Things and the industry and enhance the traceability of the goods with digital methods. We should also balance the maritime, rail, and air transport. And we have also inspected Yunnan, and you have also boosted the export of China's intermediate goods. When businesses go global, we should improve our strategy. Trade and customs compliance have been quite crucial. Global supply chain reform has added uncertainty. In terms of the positioning and professional capability, we need to face higher requirements. Compliance is about the competitiveness of the enterprises, is about the strategic balance of the demand and supply. Trade and customs management will meet the new shift from the cost to value engine, from the goods to the prevention of risk. In terms of the pathway, in terms of the concept, through the compliance with data support-driven and system coordination, we can achieve the whole process integrated and digital and end-to-end and a visual process. In terms of design of the system, we should improve the goods and the purchase and sales and logistics, finance, IT, and legal part, administration, and R&D within the coordination. In terms of functions, we should look at the origin and the trade facilitation measures to enjoy preferences, treatment, and trade agreement. We should look at classification, valuation, and origin. This is about the companies that can save the tax and tariff. Is also about their risk control and traceability. It's about the laws and regulations. That's my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Liu. Thank you for your sharing speech, and you have, with the slides, share with us the transformation of global supply chain, the trend, and also the international policies, how they reshape the international trade. At the same time, in the last part of the speech, he also provided for the going abroad, the process. He gave us insights, and for example, the digital intelligence management, and also that we should make the policy as our key to we have gained some of other information from previous speeches. For example, in the speech of Mr. Bai, the facilitated supply chain, it comes from the safeguarding, and as the bridge, we should promote standardized and break bottlenecks to our due contributions. And in the speech of Mr. Nie, he emphasized the transformation from efficiency first to balanced efficiency and the effect. So here, we'd like to invite some of the speakers to participate in the first panel's discussion. And the topic of the first panel discussion is integration resilience in supply chains. Let's welcome speakers: Mr. Wang Dupeng, Vice President of Sinotrans; Mr. Gao Ya, Deputy General Manager of Shandong Port Group; Mr. Maruk Kantaro, Executive Officer of Mizuki Bank; Mr. Shuai Yuting, Head of Risk Reduction PICC; Mr. James Brandon Abreu, Director of Air Freight Strategy Development, Utah Inland Port Authority. Welcome. Thank you for joining us here in the first part of the panel discussion. We talk about the integration and resilience of supply chains. Now, I'd like to start with Mr. Wang. We have mentioned that now the supply chain facing uncertainty, instableness, and as the platform to engage in the management, you have played an important role. So, what do you think about your advantage in these risks, and how can we enable the stable supply chain and the efficiency? Thank you. Just as what the other speaker said, with the geopolitical elements, especially the uncertainty and instability, as a United Logistic Operation Platform, we have three advantages. And the first is our network, and the second is our comprehensive negotiation, and third is our public network. And before 1986, we were China Foreign Trade Transportation Bureau, and then the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, globally, in 45 countries, we have 85 physical companies, and over the last 80 years, we have 400 to 500 of agencies. So this is the foundation of our work. And the second is our comprehensive capability. Transportation is about the sea, the air, the road and the railway station, and we ranked the first in the broad transportation, and we launched the first company in air freight, and we were the first in China into the work of transporter railway, and our comprehensive capability, if we go abroad, it replicates our core ability. So I have said about it with Mr. Wang that we're no longer an air freight company with many other, like especially top 10 air freight corporations. We have some agency relationship with them. So we are partners, and our company was the largest agency globally. So our public identity has given us the opportunity to integrate these resources. So we are good at global service. You said about in the practice how to counter the challenge. Two examples. First is the conflicts between America and Iran. The Hormuz channel is very fragile in this conflict. It's open and then not open. So if we can't go through that, then we can get the cargoes outside of that and then use roads to transport into the land. The second is the Red Sea crisis. It caused many sea freight to go around that line. So then we changed it into, we combined air freight and sea freight together. So that's all I want to share about. Thank you. You can give a warm applause to Mr. Wang and also his company. Thank you. I believe that we are proud to see that as an important part of national team. You have established a very strong international network, and with this platform, with your comprehensive ability and your advantage of integrating all resources, you can tackle all the emergency. So at the critical time, you can use your ability to secure the chain and secure the efficiency. The fast reaction based on your many years experience and networks locally. So you have planned in advance. So if you have time, can you share more about your experience and cases in your company? And now let's talk about talk with Mr. Gao from Shandong Port Group. I have also reported many related reports related port, and you have been at the core position. So, Mr. Gao, how did the Shandong Port, by hardware upgrading, service upgrading, build an ecosystem of supply chain? Thank you. Here, in the past time, only now the change of our trade globally has gained more attention in supply chain. So here I'd like to talk about in this field, you know that the focus of the port used to on the supply chain and industry chain. The large scale in China, the going abroad proceeding with the support of supply chain is also very important. So the support from port is very important for the supply chain, with the volume increasing, with efficiency increasing. We have two important benchmarks. One is the basic capability of capacity, and two is how many countries can they reach. So Shandong port is the biggest port. We have 21 ports and 380. Last year, we exceeded 1.9 billion tons in container volume. We have the freight from Shandong port can reach to over 180 countries, to over 700 ports. So if you go through Shandong port and you want to connect to the whole world, you can always find the easiest and fastest way to transport from B2B your cargoes. So that's an important benchmark to assess the ability of a port. So the port used to focus on the service for the shippers, and now the entrepreneurs in the supply chain for the service of the supply chain, we take the traditional advantage, and we have many services like shipping and financial license. And last year we have been afforded as one of the first container terminals. And in the supply chain, we have more resilience to help more corporates to find the right line. We can help them step by step. So that's our advantage, one of the most important advantage. Thank you, Mr. Gao. If we have time, I want to hear more about your efforts and your cases. As a port, I'd like to invite one of the other representatives from.
Because we were just on the topic of the efforts paid by ports in trying to forge a more resilient supply chain. So for Chinese companies, be it manufacturers, be it logistics firms or carriers, they are looking for more resilient access to North American markets. So where do you think UIPA fit into the supply chain?
That's a great question, and actually I would reach out to Mr. Wang. You are exactly who we're targeting. The Utah Inland Port Authority is not a conventional port. When you think of a port, you think of something like Mr. Gao and their massive operations of operating and moving containers back and forth. The Utah Inland Port Authority is an alternative. We are a partner to the Port of Long Beach, the Port of Los Angeles. We work very closely with the Salt Lake International Airport. Our goal is to provide Chinese manufacturers and freight forwarders an alternative to the congestion of Los Angeles. We know that it's getting more and more expensive, and in 2018 we experienced our own supply chain as the state of Utah get cut off. However, the state itself was perfectly functional. So to address that, the Utah Inland Port Authority was formed, and what our goal is to partner with industry. As an example, last year We did an $18 million loan to Delta Cargo, not because Delta needed the loan, but because we were able to provide a lower cost of capital to accelerate their infrastructure program for cold chain supply. Utah, for the last 3 years, has been the #1 economic growth state for the United States. In 2035, we will have the Olympics. It is something that we are preparing for, and with that is going to come a lot of infrastructure. We hope to find good partners, and what our message is that instead of dealing with the congestion in Los Angeles or San Francisco, you can fly over the problem with air freight. You can utilize the direct flight from Incheon to Salt Lake. And from Utah, you have access to 80 million people within an 18-hour drive. That's distribution all across the west coast of the United States without the congestion, without the cost of operating in a coastal port like Los Angeles or San Francisco.
Thank you, Mr. Ariel. Thank you. Now let's talk about finance. 那我们接下来呢，其实刚才呢是跟物流的企业、跟港口的嘉宾聊了一聊。接下来我们来聊一聊金融，因为我们就觉得金融的这种稳链的举措，实际是可以给
Finance is also crucial. Finance can inject a new vigor, vitality into the supply chain. Let's welcome the expert from Japan, Mizuho Bank, Mr. Maruki. And you have a lot of companies working with the international companies, and in terms of the industry chain going global, what are your take on that when Chinese companies are going global? In Chinese companies and industry chain going global, and what kind of roles you can play?
一个非常明确的变化，中国企业出海正在从过去的
Chinese businesses going global are changing from product to industry capacity and the system going global,
企业不仅把产
which
品
means that
海外
the
起建在
enterprises can also sell their products globally, and they can also establish factories, develop distribution channels, and enhance service networks, and integrate more deeply into local supply chains, and engage in host countries' economic development.
是让供
The
应链
positive aspect of this trend is that it deepens supply chain integration and strengthens industrial collaboration. However, challenges have also significantly
链条
increased.
更强，
Longer supply chains, more participants,
币种更多，
a wide ranging of currencies, more complex compliance requirements, and great demands for
此
sustainability.
外，新技术的不断更
Coupled
新，
with continuous technical advancement and geopolitical uncertainties, the market enterprises are facing increasingly complex environment.
韧性
In this context, I believe
多
resilience
找几个供应商，
is not simply about more suppliers.
尊重
It's also about
当地的文化，
respecting local culture,
与当地企业共荣共生。
survive and develop with local businesses, and follow local laws and regulations, and pursue long-term development.
基于以上判断，
Based on these considerations, I believe financial
还
institutions
可以发挥
can play
两类
two important roles.
第一类
One,
连接器
connector.
connector， 金融机构
Financial institutions can offer a wide range of financial products and services.
同时可以
They can also leverage
自身的
their
网络机制、
custom-based
网络渠道
network channels
以及
and resource collaboration capabilities
做好相
to
对
facilitate business partnerships and resource
更高效
integration,
的连接
and more
企业需求
effectively
与海外市场
bridge
资源
corporate needs with overseas market demands, establish collaborative pathways across industries, industrial parks,
三
and partners to promote high-level multilateral comprehensive cooperation for mutual benefit.
第二类
Second role, stabilizer.
金融机构还可以
Financial institutions
通过
can also leverage their
提升
professional expertise to enhance their cross-border operation
例如
in terms of certainty and predictability. For example,
利率风险
providing exchange rate and interest rate risk management solutions to mitigate financial volatility, offering compliance support and risk control frameworks to help enterprises expand globally steadily into more markets and leverage localized financial services and capabilities to improve the efficiency of cross-border transactions and project execution quality. Thank you. Thank you for these great ideas and perspectives. Chinese enterprises should respect local laws and regulations and jointly develop with local enterprises. Not simply export products, we are also exporting industry capacity and industrial chain. Finance can play the roles of connectors and stabilizers. To this end, let's talk about it with PICC. To manager Mr. Shuai, we are facing the global supply chain risk. What kind of influence will insurance industry suffer? Port and cargo industry experts have talked about their own ideas, and I believe we have observed this industry since the certification of the 20th National Congress of CPC in terms of the industrial and supply chain resilience and integration. We have strategic planning, and during the 15th five-year plan, we have talked about industrial chain 12 times. We pursue high quality development of the supply chain. We have safety and quality, and PICC is also talking about it. I will talk about two aspects. First, industrial chain. Compared with traditional insurance, it is very broad and wide-ranging for different hotspot risk issues such as the pandemic causing the shortage of goods and the chipset shortage leading to the supply volatility and vulnerability of our supply chain. As Mr. Gou has mentioned, in terms of the Strait of Hormuz, goods transportation, goods have suffered the risks from wars, and enterprises should also reschedule and replan their route or take a detour. This would also lead to the rise of cost. At the same time, in terms of the information and pricing, we're facing more risks, more enterprises. They are also talking about the payment receivables. They have the concerns previously talked about the guarantees from products. Now we should focus on customer-centered, the packaged solution. In terms of the high-level cooperation with the industries, we have the decoupling. How can we enhance the industrial chain integration? In this way, we can re-establish the product map and the product manufacturing. The macro risks can be broken down at the micro level. Specific risks can be confirmed, and for insurance industry, this is quite systematic. Second, for industrial chain, we should look at the transmission of different risks. Previously, we talked about the supply and the demand. We look at the risks of the enterprises in terms of the properties and the people. Now, for many enterprises, they hope that they can deal with the indirect risks. For example, in terms of the chipset industry, we have built the important institution, and you can see sometimes the upstream suppliers have been cut down. We have to suffer the restraints in terms of the chipset supply chain. It is quite complex, and it is not so easy to replace the supply chain. Sometimes they need to face greater risks. It's like the risk caused by natural disasters. That is why we should look at the chain thinking to design our product. We should look at the risk by ourselves, risk in our own selves, but also the industry experts. We should also look at how we can support others. You have mentioned that industries are facing great risks, and it's an opportunity for me as well. When we talk about the insurance companies, we believe when natural disasters come, we should deal with all of these factors. In terms of the chipset industry, sometimes the supply upstream company, even 2 or 3 nodes away, they have suffered risks, and the downstream 2 or 3 enterprises will suffer more risks as well. We have been providing different solutions, and how do you look at the future insurance for properties and goods? As President Nie has mentioned, we have attended this Expo for 4 years in a row, and we have provided important solutions. During the second Expo, we have provided the industry chain insurance and the industry risk evaluation model from operation, finance, and procurement. We have covered the important links. This is a chain type reach out. And in terms of the risk report, sometimes we will need to look at their own risk. And we have been working with our association. We have launched the China Industrial Chain Risk White Book. This is the very first document about the industrial chain. In this way, in terms of the risk management, they can enjoy more methodologies and the toolkit in terms of computing power and low altitude economy, among other 7 new trends. We have promoted different products to deal with different solutions. We want to achieve the chain type insurance, such as the large airplane. For the midstream, the guarantee is quite comprehensive. For the upstream supplier, especially the mid and small supplier, we have provided important risks, and we have enhanced the guarantee, and we can ensure the safety of the airplane. And you can see, when you look at during the 15th five-year plan, we should look at the 6 emerging industry. During the 15th five-year plan, we have also mentioned that we should enhance industrial chain and supply chain. And if you can say industrial chain is a channel, and the enterprises are the boats, orderly operation and smooth operation cannot be possible without the leading of the supply chain. And we should also look at the talent support and the capital support. In the future, these 4 chains should interact with each other, and insurance can play important roles from the concept to technology, innovation, R&D, to commercialization, to promotion. It's not about the sci-tech operation. For different enterprises, manufacturing business or service industry, they'll enjoy the new model. That is why we should have the upgrading as well. In this way, we can support the whole industrial chain, and we can give full play to the roles of insurance, contributing to modern industry system and the new qualitative forces. And you can see sometimes we have multiple chains, and when we look at the different services, we should look at different services. Look at the upstream and the downstream cooperation as well. Sometimes we should also look at the different possibilities as well. Sometimes the strong industry will also deal with the weak spots. Thank you, Mr. Shuai. This is the future, and we should have more cooperation, and we should think about the industrial chain. In terms of the future trend, Mr. Wang, in terms of the logistics, in the coming 3 to 5 years, in terms of supply chain, what kind of preparation you have made for the future? Based on the U.S. Supply Chain Association, based on 5 parts of the supply chain: planning, procurement, production, and recovery and distribution. 20 years ago, Dow Chemical has acquired DuPont, the largest chemical company at that time. We worked with international counterparts. We talk about the supply chain. We talk about the cost. 10 years ago, in Hong Kong, when we talk about the supply chain, we talk about the visibility as well, and e-business. Now, in terms, all of the leaders have talked about resilience. For 10 years in a row, let's reduce the different environment. Resilience is crucial. Resilience and efficiency should be balanced as well. And how can we integrate resilience?
That is the first characteristic. And in the future, the ability to react and to repair. That's what I understand. And a part of resilience, the second trend is to practicing green, go green. That's not a new topic. And the third is embracing intelligence. So seeking resilience, go green, and embrace intelligence. That's the 3 trends in the future. Actually, in the future layout, the first is to lay the physical networks. You know, the trade in Europe is the most important, and 80% of the e-commerce comes from Europe and America. And then, with the Belt and Road Initiative in Middle East and Southeast Asia and the West Europe and North, we have all important layout there. And the second is the green intelligence. Our company has a very big warehouse, and now we have changed it into a PV roof warehouse. And the electricity generated, stored, and then transformed to making a zero carbon park. So we launched the first carbon food calculator, which align with the benchmark in Europe, and including intelligence you may be very familiar with. And in the future, we will make full use of our 3 advantages with green intelligence, including make full use of Commerce Bureau and airline and park and port, and more than 50,000 clients and partners. We work together to build its ecosystem and link the world and build the future. Thank you. I think this last part was the most excellent. Just now, Mr. Wang has mentioned that in this layout, you pay more attention to the market in Europe and America because it is very large. And now we have this expert, Mr. Abril.
刚才我们谈论到了欧美市场以及美国市场的这种最新的发展。我希望能够分享一下，刚才王总也分享了这些重要的知识。那么你们如何能够将海运、空运如何整合在一起？作为内陆港，我知道你们可以
Thank you, Lily. And actually, it's a big honor to be up here with very talented leaders in the industry. You know, the theme here at the Expo has been one of cooperation and finding alternatives. That's exactly what the inland port is. We are an alternative. We will never replace Los Angeles. We will never replace Long Beach. We will never replace the International Airport of Los Angeles. However, we are a good alternative. And at the stage that we are at in Utah, we are understanding that right now, 90% of all of our freight that's inbound and outbound out of the International Airport of Salt Lake all has to reposition either to Los Angeles, to Chicago, to Miami, or to Houston, because previously we did not have the capacity or uplift to support the cargo. Here's an interesting fact about Utah. We are the third largest manufacturer of medical devices in the United States. We have bioMérieux, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Edwards Life Sciences. All of these industries require passive cooling. In the past, passive cooling was not something that we had the infrastructure for. But in the next 24 months, we will have a new facility built at the International Airport to support those Utah businesses that are reaching the world. What our hope is that we can come in here and share the message that we would like to include Chinese businesses and Chinese freight forwarders to understand what your needs are, how Utah can support your distribution westward, or in the case of ocean, how our partnership with the Port of Long Beach allows those containers to be put on rail overnight over to the intermodal hubs with Union Pacific, which is our rail carrier, BNSF, another rail carrier, and bring those containers inward without having to deal with the congestion. So we look at ourselves as a growing solution, and one that we would like to go ahead and continue to learn from what is the needs of Chinese manufacturers and forwarders.
Thank you, Mr. Abreu. Thank you.
No problem.
那么是这个刚才 Abreu 先生也说到了这个犹他州的港务局他们如何利用
Mr. Abreu said about their advantage in this field, and we cannot compare it to some single port, but we use comprehensive strategy geologically, and no matter the seaport, the airport, including railway, and also the roads. So speaking this, we come back to Mr. Gao from Shandong Port Group. You said you are an important port regionally, and now we want to know how did you enhance your comprehensive resilience. In recent years, in the digital intelligence, we have been in the leading position, including the Qingdao port. We have the first national self-IP auto port, and we broke 12 consecutive times the world record and meet the demands for many efficiency. And now many companies have cooperation with this port, and with a big transportation, we have cultivated many talents. Stick to self-innovation with many universities, institutions, and some great corporations like Baidu and Huawei. We provided some of the resolutions with many universities and institutions to enhance the efficiency and service capability of the national ports. And here, including the national first smart 5-star port and green 5-star port. The dual 5-star ports is here. That's our accumulated outcomes. So in the digital intelligence, we have took big leap, and we are leading globally. So that's what I'm proud of. But just as Mr. Bai has said, we have a rare female technical person in this field who have a very rich experience, and also she has transport this technology abroad. You just said about the global layout. In recent years, Shandong Port has sticking to this strategy of going abroad. In 2019, we integrated into one integrated port, and in global key areas, we have 10 ports, including in Africa, in Southeast Asia. We have layouts there. Some of them are separated, and some are working with other companies. In recent years, we have established 4 regional corporations and 10 representative offices and 10 broad ports. With this system, we are going abroad and doing the layouts. But in global perspective, this is just our first step. And in the future, we have many directions to explore and many places to lay out, and we need to work together with many ship corporations and supply chains corporations to go abroad together. Now, in recent years, the engineering vehicle are increasing, and the international ports can adjust to this changing. But in the foreign countries, we can't meet the demands. So in the future, we will doing more layouts, and we're going out together with other corporations and do our due contribution. So Mr. has called out that collaboration. So cooperation. Okay, last time, I want to ask Mr. Makuru Kantaro. So what do you think are the key projects that you're facing in going abroad? How can you give comprehensive support? Okay, in this support, I recognize 3 projects. The first is localization practice. If you cannot you and other and you will not get a good practice. The second project is the collaboration with finance. Because of the limited purchase capability, some big corporations must rent if some of the and the third project is about the capital resilience. And in some of the emerging industries markets, they have low credit, or some of them cannot reach the demands of the headquarters, and with the strict policies, environmental assessment will also impact the assessment. So here we can use 2 sentences to summarize this. We do both
We serve as the connector and stabilizer as well. As the connector, we help enterprises finding new resources and new partners. We want to cite one example in Southeast Asia. For example, one Chinese passenger vehicle company when they enter the local market, they need 2 pain points, right? One is about localization and localized production requirement. They need to complement all of the supply chains. Second, the sales volume relies on the car finance. They need strong financial partners. Our bank has utilized our local resources and long-established local industry network to support enterprises, connect with major domestic industrial groups, and work with them to support the supply chain cooperation. At the same time, we partner with financial leasing companies operating across multiple Southeast Asia countries and possessing auto finance capabilities. And we have also facilitated that cooperation and different models of cooperation. Second, as stabilizer, we support Chinese enterprises to stabilize the trade and transactions. For example, in Africa, sometimes Chinese auto companies have faced 2 constraints. First, the local dealers have limited financial capability. Second, there's a lack of international credibility, creditworthy banks to issue letters of credit. We need to work with regional financial institutions. We can provide acceptable payment and credit enhancement arrangements and compliance requirements. And we can also address the issue of payment. These institutions can have a deep understanding of a local dealership network and ecosystem, and they can also support the OEMs to find new partners. They can find new leads, new clues, and matchmaking opportunities. And we have been working with a large, comprehensive business network. We can facilitate discussions on trade, financing, and channel development to help companies unlock new growth momentum. But last but not least, I want to share with you that Chinese enterprises are enjoying great opportunities. It's not simply about going fast, but also going further and going longer. Mizuho is committed to leveraging global network to support our industry partners. We can also help them to use our trade finance and risk management capacity to support Chinese enterprises to go global and achieve high-quality development and operation and achieve win-win results with local partners. Thank you.
What you said was the basic of our discussion, because we talked about integration and resilience. Actually, integration is the preposition of resilience. So in this part, we have a little time for excellent speakers. They are very time-honored, and we have a few minutes. And taking good use of these minutes for this rare opportunity. And can you summarize briefly in 1 or 2 sentences that as an expert in this field, there are many other, they may be your partners here in the audience, and as the representative of the leading corporations, can you give us some suggestions or your key tactics, Mr. Aberville?
Key takeaway for us, it is a big honor to work with the CCPIT. They have been absolutely fantastic. Without their help, we would not have been able to make this trip here today. It has been also an honor to sit up here with these gentlemen who are captains of their industry. Keep the doors open. I think it's important. We have supply chain always finds a solution, and that is what we're here to do, to find solutions together with you.
Thank you, thank you. 要不这个高总，这个我今天项链、手链一个都没带。
I didn't wear the necklace or the bracelet, but I have a lot of chains inside my heart. Mr. Gao, conclude,
我觉得我们这个为什么今天主题也是融合？
today the topic is about integration and inclusion. It's not so easy to do
做到
that.
真正的融合，我觉得做到一点也是非常容易的。
One important part is that
信息的融合。
information
对于我们这个
integration.
供应链来讲，打造
For supply chain, we need to create the supply chain cooperation. We have a lot of enterprises along the chain, a lot of industries along the chain. In order to achieve integration of information, our supply chain system can be more full-fledged and more abundant and more powerful.
谢谢。
This is what I want to say. Thank you, Mr. Gao. Mr. Shuai.
好，大家知道这个金融
You
啊
know
是
that
实体的
finance
血脉
is the
我们
blood
也
lifeline
愿意
and the
在
blood
做好
of
这
real
个
economy,
减震气和稳定
and
器
we serve
的
as the
基础上
damper
强链稳链
and
啊
stabilizer and connector. We can provide
希望跟大家
the
呢
guardian
共建共赢共享
guardrail service, and we can co-work and co-share and co-develop with each other.
刚才接着日本朋友那句话，
Following the ideas from our Japanese friend,
我们在一起
the moderation is quite smooth. When we talk about go global,
还要稳。
we should be
一
efficient
个人可能
and stable, and we should go further and stronger.
这个
Maybe one person can go very fast, but we can work together to move forward further with our ecosystem built.
一句话，最重要的是
And Mr.
尊重
Mazuki
当地的
will
文化
respect local
还
culture,
有携手调整
join hands with local partners to deal with the challenges,
共荣共享，
co-share,
这个
co-develop. That is
谢
crucial.
谢谢谢。我想最后呢，其实我们大家共同认识的就是刚才王总包括
As
接下
Mr.
来
Wang
也
has
都提到了
mentioned,
独行快而众行远，所以呢，我们
one
只有携
person
手
could
共
move
同
very
前
fast,
行，
but
才能够共同构
if
筑
we
一个
go
安全
move
的、
together, we
韧
can
性
go
的
move further
承受
and
的
forward
冶炼
together.
让我们把
So it
掌
has
声
to
再次送
build a
给这个
resilient,
环节
strong
每一位嘉
supply
宾，
chain
感
and
谢你们
industrial
的分
chain.
享，谢谢。
Thank you, everyone.
来，王总和高总已经握过手了，我相信那边每一位嘉宾都想跟大家都握手。有机会
shake
啊，有机
hands.
会，希望我们链博会的
We
这样
hope
的一个
that
平台，
this
给大家提供
platform
更多的
can
交流和
provide
未
more
来合作的
opportunities
机
of
会。
communication and
谢谢
cooperation.
高总，
Thank
谢谢
you.
来，请各位嘉宾
Please take your
先
seats.
到观众席入座，谢谢。感谢各位嘉宾刚才给我们带
Thank
来
you,
非常
everyone.
有意思的分享哈，我也是记了满满几页的这个笔记。
And I
刚才
have
大家都
been
听
taking a
到
lot
了
of
每一位嘉宾
notes,
从他们各自不同的
and
角度
each
给我
one
们做了
has
分享，
shared with
也
us
都给
their
我们
great
讲了一些非常
ideas,
实际的
and
这
they
个
have also talked
案
about
例。
specific
比如说，我
cases.
记得印象非常深刻的一些案例，有比如说帅总跟我们提到了
Mr.
说
Shuai
如果
has
一个芯
mentioned
片
that
企业，
for the
它
chipset
的一
market,
场这个风险或者是危机的
there
发
are
生，可
risk
能不是
and
说它会
crisis
遇到什么天灾人
are
祸，而
not
是
about
有可
the
能就
natural
是产业
disaster,
链
maybe
上
about the
端的
supply
某一个
chain.
小企业忘记
One
做
small
备份
link
了，
at
这
the
样子呢，我们就看到
upstream
一个
have
薄弱的环境会引发
gotten
一
the
场
backup,
比较大的
and
这个产业
we
链的变
have
动。
the supply
我
chain
们
shock
接下来
along
要
the
进行的
chain.
第二个环节
The
的
second session.
研讨的主题。来，我们做好准备。第二个环节，我们的主题是供应链的跨境与
Panel
安
discussion,
全。让我们有请这个
cross-border
环节的
supply
研讨
chain
嘉宾
and
来到舞
security.
台。
Let's
有请
welcome the expert
Visa
coming
全
to the
球副总
stage.
裁王志云
Mr.
先
Wang
生。
Zhiyun, Vice President of
有
Visa.
请中裕航空集团有限公
And,
司总经理范勇先生。
Mr. Fan Yong,
有请联邦快递中国区运营副总
as
裁
well
陈
as the
月玲女士
manager of
，Miss
China
Boy Bentan。
Hainan Aviation Group
有请
and
对外
Miss
经贸大
Guzi
学全
Ben
球价
Tan,
值
Vice
链
President
研
of
究院院
Operations
长
Flex
殷晓
China,
鹏先生
and。Lin Xiaopeng,
有
Dean
请
of
荷
Research
兰国
Institutions
际
of
物
Global
流
Value
协会
Chain,
亚洲区商务
UIB,
拓展高级
and
经
Mr.
理
Jasper
Mr.
Agby,
Jasper
Senior Manager of
Join us on
Business
the stage.
Development Asia of Holland
Please take your
International
seat. Thank you.
Distribution Council.
感谢各位嘉宾，我们这
Thank
个
you.
环节呢要聚
In
焦
this
的
part,
是
we
这
focus
个
on
安全和跨境
the
跨境
safety
跨境贸易是一定要做的，因为现在
cross-border
全球的整个贸易
supply
体系已经
chains.
是融
That's
会贯通，没有一个国家可以
because
躲
now
过。
we are
但是
all
呢，在跨境的
integrated,
时候过程当中，其
but
实
in
安
this
全隐患
process,
是非
the
相对来说是更高，有的时候更加
security
不可控、不可测的。
cannot be
所以在这个过
controlled,
程当中
cannot be
需要各
accessed.
方，不管您
So in
是
this
物流
part,
的，
we
您是
need
港口
every
的，您是这个金融机构的，都需要
participants
做
to
足够的这个
do
预警啊、
enough
备案。
work
而在当今的这个全球
to
供应链的情
alert.
况下，您更需要做到的
And
是
in
有非
this
常这个信赖的
backdrop,
合作伙伴。
you
在
need
产
a
业
very
链上
reliable
遇到危
partner.
机的时候，我们可
When
以
you
一起应对。
face
好，那么
risks,
接
we
下来
can
呢，
tackle
就
them
是
together. So
像从我身边的王总开始，
then
王总其实
from
昨天我们有见面，
Mr.
因为
Wang
在我们这次的这个供应链
and
展有自己的
yesterday,
展区。
We have our own booth in this part, and Mr. Wang has many interviewed, and we focus on the globalization, the safety. So how can Visa leverage its strengths to enhance the resilience of global supply chains and improve efficiency and adaptability in complex international environments? Thank you. Visa is honored to be here to share with you some of our experience in this field. In the last session, they talked about the cargo supply chain integration. So today I want to talk more about as a history spanning nearly 70 years, our impression on you is more about the Visa card, because when you need to go abroad, you need to get a Visa card. 10 years ago, we have made many bold initiatives, some of the investments and research. Apart from serve the clients, we also serve the financial enterprises. We serve not only the clients, but also small and medium-sized enterprises, big prices, and government institutions. In this process, Visa has not only is focused on cards, but also a payment network. And in this network, how can we enable our partners? That's what I want to talk about in the next phase. Here we have did many efforts to conduct payment ecosystem by collaborating with banks and payment institutions. We have enabled these corporations to more efficient payments. So we initiate the process of going abroad. In the last Chain Expos, we have set booths and we launched cooperation and the dynamics in the market and MOU with strategic partners. So this year we also worked with Chinese payment corporations, launched a series of solutions in the payment, and in future we can work with banks to better enable these corporations. So apart from these corporations, we stand against this backdrop of secure environment, and many Chinese enterprises, they tackle not only the problems in cargo transportation, but at the financial transportation or transmission, they have also some obstacles. So the exportation in China not only restricted to Europe and America, but also the developed countries. Many of these countries, they have less advanced payment networks. So we may meet the service of the finance is not enough, especially some. I talked about a partner, for example, an auto parts corporation. Usually, when his finance transmission to Brazil usually takes 3 days or longer, because then he flew to Brazil. He arrived earlier than his money. So transporter payment has a lot of improvement room. So in this global network, many business, including finance institutions, so they have advantages to help Chinese corporations to tackle the problem of finance problems. Thank you. So you mentioned how finance institutions help clients to tackle the bottleneck in the transborder trade. Early in traditional times, it took days, but now with the efficiency increasing, we have more opportunity for cooperation and facilitate this process. Now, Mr. Fan, can we talk about? We know that you have focused on building the air Silk Road. So, in the backdrop of restructuring of global trade, how can air transportation offer revolutionary advantages, highlight high value to help the global supply chain secure and stable? The air Silk Road has effectively addresses the limitation in traditional land maritime modes. Air transportation not only offers point-to-point connectivity, but also presents historic opportunities for opening up and breaking through barriers in inland regions. I have noticed that in the last session, a representative from the United States has shared his opinion. So, as inland region, we have no natural advantage, but if we build the traditional Belt and Road Initiative an important corridor, in 2014 we successfully acquired Luxembourg Cargo 35% stake, and then we opened this beautiful story with them, and by building the dual hub strategy, make it the Luxembourg as the core of the European American center, and connect these markets together and facilitate the integration of the industry in both countries and stable cooperation. In June 2017, during meeting with Luxembourg's then Prime Minister President Xi has established and marking the air Silk Road. In February 2022, November 2022, October 2025, General Secretary has issued important directives regarding air Silk Road. It gives us directions for our future work. In these years, we have bear in mind what Mr. Xi has said and build a foundation for this work. We have done 3 aspects of work. One is strengthen resilience of dual hub corridor, and fostering deep collaboration and establish stable and sustainable strategic corridor. As for Luxembourg Cargo in Zhengzhou, we operate 3 regular 747 intercontinental flight routes, and every week over 20 flights closely connect unites China and Europe, and contributed a total of 1.4 million tons of international cargo volume. From the start of cooperation, it was a corporate that facing loose, and now we have succeeded in this field. A win-win cooperation, win-win, and got the 1.2 billion
第二个呢，就是我们
reward.
推广双枢纽的这个合作模式。
Second, we're expanding global network of dual circulation strategy.
出访马来西亚
Last year, when Mr. Xi visited Malaysia, we have
新一版的联合合作声明里，那么开辟了先16连的航线。
the
那么马来西亚的先16连
Malaysia
通
into
过飞机能
our United Declaration so that
让
the
中国内陆的老百姓
fruits from Malaysia can be delivered to China at a very
2
fast.
年里面，我们
In the last 2 years,
郑州和马来西亚的这个货运量
China-Malaysia joint
高增长，那么
increased
翻了9.5倍，第二年增长7.8倍。
by 9.5 times and 7.8 times consecutively at the air cargo volumes, so it connects the economy and trade in two countries. And in the future, we will continuously
不断地推广复制我们
promote this cooperation mode of
和非洲的埃塞俄比亚、
dual
亚的斯亚贝巴
circulation.
建立一种双枢纽合作关系。
And we will cooperate with like Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, Mexico, and Uzbekistan
推广到
to build dual hubs.
那么
and
通过
Mexico.
一个又一个的海外枢纽
By building these
变成我们中国的
abroad hubs,
中国的产品走向
making it
一个桥头堡。同
the
时
spot for Chinese products to go abroad and
更紧密地和我们中国的发展
to integrate resources globally to connect to Chinese corporations
物流贸
to
易
build
构建我们人类命运的共同体。
the
第三个
shared
就是打造这个
humans
多方共同的合作平台。
density
那么我们
with
还始终秉持共商共建共享这么一个合作理念。
we
刚才
adhere
讲到
to
了
the idea of
合作
negotiation and
带来双方
cooperation
影响
to
回报。
bring
那实际上不仅是
win-win
经济利益，
outcomes
我们
not
在
only
政治效益
economically
在
but
社会效益方面
politically
也获得了巨大
and
的成果
socially.
我们还在构建
We
双方
are
可持续
building
机制化的合作平台。
the
那么在
platform
22年和24
lasting
年，
mechanism. In 2022 and 2024, we have
中东丝绸之路
successfully
合作论坛
held
在
two
22年在郑州举
seminars
办的时候，
and 2022 in Zhengzhou.
何立峰副总理
One of the officials
24年在
gave
卢森堡举
remarks,
办，我们双边
and
交流举办。
2024 in
那么在卢森堡举办
Luxembourg,
的时候，贝泰尔首相和我们中共中央政治局常委
Premier
丁薛祥
Better and Premier Ding
那
Xuexiang
么今年时间也已经
attended the meeting,
在
and
12月
this
贝泰尔
year
首相还将飞
on
临
5
郑州
December,
出席我们这个论坛，中方也将有高规格
Premier
官员
Jiang
出席。
will also
那么借这个机会
attend
呢
the
我们也向我
meeting.
们的
And taking
广
this
大的经济合
opportunity,
作伙
I'd
伴
like
向
to
我们主要的客户发出诚挚的邀请。
invite
我们希望
you
在这个空中丝绸之路国际合
into
作论坛
Air Silk
构建
Road
空中
to
丝绸之
build
路国际货运联盟，把
international
我们的航空运输企业
association,
把全球的机场、
so
货代
to
乃至贸易
make
商
full
生
use of the
构建成一个
global
新的朋友圈
transportation,
生态圈。
airports,
刚才上
making
一
it
个主题包
ecosystem,
括王总啊几位嘉宾也都讲到了，
friend
实际上
circle.
我们需要建立一个生态。
Just
各方
as
的合
what
作伙伴
Mr. Wang
要
has
把
said,
各方
we
资源
need
紧
to
密地
make
绑在一起，
friend circle
因为供
and
应链
work
是一个长
together
链条，
because it's
或者说我们的物流
a
每
very
一个环
long
节
chain.
不可
Every
都会
part
导致
is very
从上游生
important.
产到下游
If
销售
any part is locked,
整个
it
链条。
affects the
所以这
whole
里呢需要
chain.
我们每一个环节
So
上的合作伙
here,
伴都贡献了自己的
every
力量，
partner
同时啊
need
做到
to
更紧密的
make
衔
their
接，
due
才能保证
contribution
我们整个供应
to
链
facilitate
安全
this chain, to make it
才能保证我
secure,
们中国企业
smooth,
不断地
and
走向全球更大的市
make
场。
sure the
也
corporations
助力
can go to a
全球的
bigger
企业
market,
共同
and
达成中
the
国经济发展。
corporations from all
所以呢，
all
我们也希望
countries
围绕着这个
can
平台的
develop
打造，
faster.
能够给
So we hope this
业界的朋
platform
友带
can
来更多的发展机会。大家共
provide
同
more
努力
opportunities
把
for
我们这条
all
空中丝绸之路
industries
越
to
越好
build
走深
this
走深。
air
谢谢。
Silk
谢谢范
Road.
总来，我们掌声给空中丝绸之路打个 call 来。是千百年前，古丝绸之路是用双脚，用骆驼的脚去丈量出来
Thousands of years
今
ago,
天呢，我们
the
看到
ancient
了
Silk
空中
Road
丝绸之路是由
was built
航空
through
通道为我
camels,
们打通的
and
更加的快捷
people
便
now
捷
we
给我们
have
带来
the
的意想不到的效
air
果。刚
Silk
才的范总
Road
也特别提到
through
了说，
our
我们的合作一
airways,
定要
through
是
the
多方
planes,
互利共赢
and our cooperation should be multi-party, multi-stakeholder based. And in Zhengzhou, we host the third session. We invite all of you to visit Zhengzhou. It's very easy to take the train from Beijing to Zhengzhou. And as a media, we hope that we can also serve as the observer. Ms. Chen from FedEx. FedEx is a global leading enterprise in aviation and air cargo. And when you build global supply chain, what are the new trends? But on this trend, what is the major shift made by FedEx, and how can you support Chinese enterprises stabilize and enhance their ability to deal with different risks? It's a key question. FedEx has been making good effort. When we build global supply chain, we are undergoing major profound breakthroughs and profound changes. And you have mentioned that in the past, efficient first. Well, today we have resilience and efficiency going in parallel. In the past, we look at who could be faster and whose cost could be lower. But now, based on global supply chain, we are reshaping and restructuring the supply chain. Uncertainty is on the rise. Enterprises have different focuses. When environment has changed, the supply chain can be stabilized or not. And you can see three very salient features and trend. First, supply chain from single point optimization to multi-point deployment. More Chinese enterprises are doing business, deploying their industry capacity across the whole world. In Southeast Asia and Europe, they have different deployment. At the same time, in logistics, we do not simply rely on single channel. We predict different routes. The essence is that we can improve our ability to deal with different risks. And if one node has suffered some problems, we can make efficient shift instead of waiting passively. Second, let's look at the evaluation logic. Stability is more important than fast. Today we have different web bills, e-commerce is here. Small batches, multiple times of transportation, and the demand has also been shifting. And sometimes customers are not simply focusing on whether this transportation is few hours faster or not. It's that whether you can have the continuous performance and consistent performance against fluctuation. This is a higher requirement because how can you how can you fulfill agreement with flexibility and predictability? Third, for the different models of going global. It's not that our product where we can reach, and the industrial chain is going global. Chinese enterprises are simply focusing on selling the products. For the upstream and the downstream products, we can sell them, and then we can have the fledged ecosystem. For logistic companies, we have different expectations. It's not about the cargoes sold abroad. We should engage in the whole industrial chain. For FedEx, we have made some major shifts. We created a resilient global network. We should continue to enhance the key trade channels, and we have expanded domestic network coverage. We should have more choice provided to the customers. If your route is influenced, you should have the alternative. Second, we should promote end-to-end the integration, transportation, clearance, and the and distribution should be combined to reduce the uncertainty in the middle. At the same time, in terms of the cross-border e-commerce and high-value goods, we can provide some tailor-made services and solutions instead of simply improving the speed. The whole chain should be more transparent. Third, from the implementation party to the co-creation party, we should work with each other. More customers hope that we should engage in their long-term deployment instead of simply providing transportation every single time. Many customers have been asking us how you can deploy at different markets, how can you distribute the different inventories, and how can you hedge different risks and offset different risks. That is why logistics companies should change their role from implementation party to co-builder, and we believe different enterprises in terms of competition, it's not about the competition themselves, it's about the supply chain competition. And how stable your supply chain is, how resilient your supply chain is, the more capable you are of the strong growth in the future. That is why we can plan together and tackle the uncertainties together. Thank you, Ms. Chen. And you have mentioned important links, echoing the ideas by others. We should value stability instead of simply pursue fast. And Felix would like to work with different parties, from implementation party to co-creation party. We can create the future. And I want to invite expert from Holland.
So I wanted to know, what do you think of how supply chain partners can help to reduce risks in cross-border supply chains, especially between China and Europe? And also, what does effective risk control actually look like in practice?
Yeah, good question, and thanks for allowing me to be on this panel. Well, first of all, we need to realize that risk has become the norm in supply chain. And we don't expect that to change in the foreseeable time. So you need to manage that risk somehow. And it doesn't matter how hard you work in silos, you won't be able to risk or to manage risk on your own. So for me, collaboration in the supply chain is key. And that means all the supply chain stakeholders, they need to be connected digitally, and they need to share data in real time. And those supply chain stakeholders traditionally are always the shippers, the ports, the logistics service providers, customs, but we'd also like to see the traders being included into that supply chain and the payment institutions. The second part, besides collaboration, is not relying on one corridor or one port. We see more and more shippers diversifying their supply chain, using more than one corridor and more than one port. Because if you bet on one corridor and one port and there's a disruption, the impact to your supply chain will be immediately and quite severe. And you have no flexibility to avoid any damage. And the third part is that compliance should be built in from the start. And you shouldn't only think about compliance when the products are already at the border. The second part of the question was how effective risk control would look like. As I mentioned, the best risk control is building in redundancy in the supply chain. But you also have to be able to identify disruptions very early. And you need to be able to act based on the information that you get. When you identify disruptions early, you can redirect your flows or choose different corridors or different ports in order to meet the service levels that you promise to your customers. But identifying disruptions and acting on it requires a whole different supply chain. as I mentioned, it requires collaboration. So all the stakeholders need to be digitally connected and sharing data in real time. And that basically is the conclusion. You know, without visibility, you run into problems, you get the damage, and you're always reacting. When you have the visibility, you can get ahead of the problems and avoid all the damage altogether. The Netherlands, as a logistics hub in Europe, is quite well positioned to support a digital and connected supply chain. We see the logistics service providers connecting up and downstream. We have the ports building port community systems, but it goes much further than that. We need governments working together. So all I've mentioned now is private companies sharing data, but we also need federative data sharing. To me, it's strange that a shipment can leave China, for example, and experience border problems in Europe. All the data is available in the supply chain, but the data is not on the right place. If all the stakeholders in that supply chain, including customs, have the right data and it's trustworthy data, you can already block that shipment in China and say, look, you need to correct certain parts of the data before you ship it. And that also solves a lot of capacity problems in the supply chain and at customs. So in a nutshell, collaboration and
visibility.
Yeah, visibility and redundancy.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ping. Thank you. 刚才黑边先生也特别提到了合作。
He has mentioned cooperation, visibility, and we should focus on the information sharing and transparency. I talked about cross-border and security. And at the end of this topic, I want to ask Mr. Ying, you have made a lot of notes, and while taking your notes, could you share with us your good ideas? You will talk about different compliance requirements by different countries. How you can share your insights about different supply chains and compliance requirements?
How we are doing the research, and I appreciate this invitation. So here, with this question, we know that the compliance is very important. The cross-border information and more climate and very sensitive. Many countries have their policies that allow you to do something, but when you do it, they will assess, and some of them will not pass. So, for the personal information, some countries allow them to collect information cross-border. For example, in Denmark, there is a policy that allows you to launch the personal information protection, and some of the countries they paid attention to, like China and Russia. So they have expanded this to the countries who have strategic benefits relating to security. But in the United States, traditionally, they encourage cross-border free trade. But some of the countries they paid attention to, if they have headquarters in the United States, they need to access your data, and they have bilateral agreements. they promote Canada trade agreement. The EU, in the security agreement, they were the first to mention, especially Germany. They mentioned this first. In EU, they have strict CDPR agreement. So if you are from non-EU countries, it's very strict. In China, we also have some tariff policies. So we like the sensitive information threshold. If it passes 10,000, you need to get accessed. And there is a minimum benchmark standard internationally recognized. If surpass this range, they will ask, why do you need to know more about this information? So the minimum policy principle, you need to ask for permission for more information. Like the FedEx has experience, they know about this policy. And about the transmission and the basic line for regulation. 2 points. One is that this one is very important, and the second, all countries or some specific countries, you need to do this. And in the third point is both good and bad. In WTO organizations, China has proposed a solution for this, but in 2019, in a public seminar, in more than 100 NGO organizations opposed. We should not misunderstand this, because different people had different opinions. So if it passed the international standard, many NGOs in other countries will concern about the safety of the information because they pay more attention to privacy. If you touch privacy, many regulations. So it has not reached agreement in WTO. MC14 has not reached in MC15. We're still working on the details. It's hard because it's hard to balance. So in the specific trade, it's hard for different countries to coordinate. So now we, through NGO, to promote, to oppose this process. That's all. Thank you. Mr. Ying has also come up with some questions, and he may give us some answers, but he pointed out the difference in compliance. It requires corporates to build different advanced layout to tackle these problems. And now we invite Mr. Akping.
Get back to you because Mr. In was just talking about all the different regulations, standards, and scrutiny systems in different markets. And also you were reflecting on the need for data to be shared among all sections of a supply chain, from the customers, the shippers, also the manufacturers as well. My question is, how do you think governments and logistics authorities can work together, and customs to work together to use data sharing and digital tools to help to strengthen security of cross-border supply chains between China and Europe?
Well, security in supply chain from a customs perspective starts with knowing who is shipping, what is being shipped, and whether the data that is in the supply chain is trustworthy or not. If you look at customs today, they're working the same way for decades. Back in 40, 50 years ago, everything was paper-based. You ship something and you make a declaration to customs. And customs doesn't know what's arriving at the border until they get the paperwork. So they get the information way too late. Products are either already in transit or they're already at the border. And to me, that's a really old-fashioned process, given the technology that we have these days. So what I see as a modern supply chain, as I mentioned, is a fully end-to-end digitally connected supply chain where information is shared from the transaction. So you need information from the source, and you need a transparent system in that if the data is changed, a red flag appears immediately. Customs needs to be able to trust the information. And that requires a level of integration and compatibility that I haven't seen today. As I mentioned, governments need to work together on certain standards. If you don't have a data standard, there's no compatibility on the data that you share, and you need to have a system that speaks on both ends. You also need to work on joint processes. I know that the Dutch customs works very closely with the Chinese customs, and that they view the trusted trade lane with the authorized economic operators quite similarly. But you want to do this on a global scale. So it requires a level of standardization, also in other countries, that doesn't exist at the moment. If customs can rely on correct data, and if they can trust that data, they can work differently. They can do risk analysis and do checks based on risk. Now we have the trusted trade lane when you have an AEO certified company on the shipper side and one on the receiver side. Customs does administrative checks, but most of the flows flow freely. What I'm talking about is a flow on top of that, where customs has full transparency, full data security. They do risk checks, but most of the flows in that trade lane can flow freely because everyone knows what is being shipped, who's shipping, who's receiving, what the value is, etc. And that's different than the blank spot checks customs do at the port at the moment. And that creates a lot of holdups. So for me, visibility is equal to security. So end-to-end visibility is more than efficiency. If you have a supply chain where you can control the data, it's a supply chain that's harder to compromise. Let's say if you do this in the pharmaceutical supply chain, where lots of times criminals take away the medicines and they replace it with counterfeit, if you have a fully digital supply chain, you replace any product, it's immediately visible. So that kind of supply chains, especially with critical products, shouldn't be able to compromise. Any data gap in that supply chain is a security risk. And that's how the Netherlands, and especially Dutch customs, see the future of trade between, for example, China and the Netherlands. Our customs is quite digitally advanced, and there are innovations going on in the Netherlands now. They are early stage, but they aim to connect the entire supply chain, both on private stakeholder level, but also on federative level. And that will solve the decades-old customs problem, because they are working in the dark. They don't know what is trustworthy or not. So that takes a lot of manpower to enforce the customs laws. Well, if we digitize it and automate it, we can do the same amount of work or even better work without all the manpower. And that's what we need, because we have a shortage of staff in the Netherlands. And within 7 or 8 years, 40 or 50% of the customs staff in the Netherlands will have their pension. So all the knowledge that we have today will leave the organization. So we are forced these days to start to implement this, because in the future we need to automate all that knowledge into the supply chain. Our council is a logistics council, and we help Chinese shippers set up European supply chain. and we can act as a bridge between the Chinese shippers and the European supply chain stakeholders, not only the logistics companies, but also Dutch customs and the authorities over there. When I said supply chain disruptions are the norm, I really mean it. We help around 400 companies annually to restructure supply chains, and we see more and more companies restructuring their supply chains in the past 2 or 3 years. So if you need any help in restructuring supply chain or solving disruptions in the supply chain, please contact us. Our services are free of charge. We do everything confidential, and you get neutral advice.
Yes,
Thanks.
sure. You're at the CISCE. People will come to you. Thank you so much, Mr. Edgeman. 艾杰鹏先生刚才也讲到了数字化的重要性，对各方的重要性，也特别提到了数字化其实是可以赋能。
Digitalization can empower safety. Mr. Wang, can you talk about digital methods and safety? How Visa can support the cross-border payment? What kind of innovation and practice have been promoted, and how can we ensure quality while not compromising efficiency in terms of demand by the customers? Today and tomorrow is our methodology. What kind of problems can be solved today? Such as the efficiency within 3 to 7 days, we can reduce it, shorten it to 1 day. Sometimes we believe in terms of the supply chain integration. Sometimes we have too many people along the line. We have the exporters, we have the goods transportation agency, and we have the receiver. We are going through different systems, different cultures. In the whole chain, at the payment level, we can integrate different parties involved. For Visa, we have promoted a lot of commercial business card through our connection with the bank. The intermediaries fund transfer can be digitalized, and this kind of digitalized capacity can be encapsulated into the ERP system of the enterprises, and we can optimize the end-to-end supply chain from the logistics level and the cash flow level. We can improve the efficiency. This is today. How about tomorrow? I want to talk about one topic, AI. In terms of AI, we have a lot of ideas. In China, AI is developing very fast, and you can see across the whole world, we have hundreds of millions of e-commerce shoppers engaging in the upstream and downstream businesses. AI agent will play an important role. We have been talking about the different supply chains and multiple roles. Now, sometimes we are having the people communicating with each other, specialists communicating with the specialists. In the future, it could be the agent communicating, dialoguing with agent. We believe in the future we could have hundreds of millions or even billions of agents, direct or indirect, providing services, and it is a huge market, larger market than 8 billion people. If we use AI agent, language is no problem, and the rules can be built into agent, and then payment. In this large market, sometimes what we can predict what is your agent, who is your agent. We have KYC, KYB, and we'll have KYA, know your agent. And Visa has played an important role, and we have Visa Intelligent Converse. We can empower and support the financial institutions to optimize the agent control and management, and sometimes for the agent payment, It can be integrated into the cash flow of the enterprises, and we can also work with the mainstream agent, service provider, and a mainstream platform. We can create the whole agent payment regulation, trust agent protocol. In the future, we'll handle the agent to agent, and we can improve efficiency, and we can also avoid the risks and errors done by humans.
I'll explain why this is important in this occasion. Because for AI, the basic logic is who has the most powerful supply chain as the cheapest token. The cost of token is decided by electricity, right? So our motherland has the most powerful electricity supply chain. So in the future, there will be more and more agents to serve the corporations cross borders or supply chains, logistic corporations. And in this process, this is big markets. So in the future, AI will not only increase efficiency, but also help us reduce risks for many corporations. So for us, Visa, as the biggest payment corporates, we are embracing AI payments, and we expect more partners to help corporates go abroad to do their contributions. Thank you. Please give him a warm applause, and you have given us a special insight that we are integrated. We talked about cross-border finance, payments, technology, energy. Now, Mr. Wang has get us a picture of the future about the payments, and for Mr. Chen, how the AI will reshape the industry of logistics. So let me talk about the AI in cross-border logistics. And the biggest change is that it changed the position of AI from the proactive to active risk management. We used to manage the risks after it happened. But now, with AI and big data, we can, based on the historic data and information, and in advance, we can predict the potential risks, and before the problem emerged, we can regulate it in advance to enhance the resilience of the supply chain. So I think in transborder logistics, AI has three values. One, the whole chain visibility by the data transmission to the every part in this chain. We can simultaneously give the information to clients, and we can also predict the errors in this process and deal with it in advance. Secondly, in terms of efficiency, we have moved our attention to more stable in face of geographical conflicts. We can make better routes by AI analysis and secure the sustainable of supply chain and promote compliance, low carbon capability, and intelligent path routes plan, we can reduce the carbon emission in transportation, and at the same time, in this process, we can separate the segments and assess and make a carbon footprint to tackle in different markets the demand for carbon regulations. So for FedEx, we have continuously integrated AI into our operation. So first, we have established a 7/24 intelligent tracing system. In case of uncommon situations, we can notice customers so they can have time to tackle this problem in advance. And we promote the all-round chain digitalization, including the transportation, upstream, downstream cooperation. We can do them online in advance to reduce the risks and uncertainties. Third, we provide assessment of carbon emission and visibility in different markets, in different scenarios, how to operate in line of compromise and keep their competition in context of uncertainty globally. The competition of supply chain has moved from only efficiency to resilience and predictability, and it's a key role that AI can play in predicting. So by investing in this field, we can help clients to build a predictable, sustainable supply system. Thank you. Thanks for your sharing. We have a little time, and we want to talk with Mr. Fan. That other speakers has shared a lot in their separate industries, and Mr. Fan, you talked about your recent development. You took big leaps, and how do you understand we developing the hub economy? Thank you. Just like what you said, in the last few years, no matter for China Henan Aviation, but also Zhengzhou Air Hub, we got benefit from Silk Road initiative. And for Zhengzhou Aviation Hub, the cargo we have passed million cargoes. And in global, we have been the top. And domestically, we only like the first some cities in this field. And we have launched the line to Luxembourg. The hub effect of Zhengzhou Airport, we think it does not just mean the volume of cargo or people, but also the integration of resources and eco-friendliness and industry development. In this sense, the construction of Air Silk Road, we have a lot of work to do. We face many challenges, and in the future, to build a solid international air hub, we need to do more. In some respects, the first one is to we appreciate efficiency, including all the partners in this supply chain ecosystem. We have a very good partnership to secure every part to facilitate the whole chain. For example, we are cooperate with custom in Zhengzhou to make a demonstration area by improved efficiency, so we can facilitate the speed of this supply chain. For example, I said about during transportation. In Zhengzhou, we could accomplish 1 to 2 hours from Malaysia to China, and you can taste the most fresh durian or the salmon that we imported from North Europe. From capture to the table, less than 24 hours. In terms of exportation, no matter the luxury goods or electronic devices, we took the less time to transport from plant to their sales stand. It requires cooperation with many different partners. For example, we have installed warehouse at the baseline and increase the efficiency. And through our more and more sound service capability, we can provide all-round service. For example, for electric devices, there are some very sensitive devices that need to be shipped safely, and we reduce the time or the very heavy device or very tall devices, the cargoes. We have some specific plans for these cargoes and to facilitate the efficiency. Secondly, about the ecosystem, in every aspect in this logistic ecosystem, we provide all-round services. We have another cooperation. Now we have finance factors, and we provide financial services to corporations who will cross border, and aviation consultant services to provide all-round service. And about the Air Silk Road Association, we want our clients, customers to participate to make an ecosystem, a friend circle, to connect more resources to forward a supply chain or industrial chain. There are two aims. One is stable and safe, and two, efficient and smooth. They are all inevitable, and that's what we seek for. The third is stable, smooth chains for developing industries. So from Zhengzhou Airport, we have achieved some initial outcomes in the past years. No matter the cooperation with the aviation corporations, but also the commerce chambers we have, and also the same arrow from France. And we have some cases that worth sharing, and in the future, we expect to do more in this field and to cooperate with more corporations like Foxconn and BYD to rely on us in this service, and we can confidently tell them that we can provide stable and safe service.
好，感谢范总的分
Thank
享。
you.
我们
Thanks
最后
for
我们
sharing.
超2分钟时间，因为我觉得殷院长的分享一定要聊一聊，一定要听。殷院长刚才
We
那
want
个
to hear
范总也
more
说了，他们的货
about
品啊非
Mr.
常高
Yin's
速高效的就
opinions.
能够从全世界各地运
Just
抵到
now,
我
Mr.
们
Fan
郑
has
州的
said
这个中域
their efficiency was
这
very
个郑州的这个机场。想问问您，您刚才也
advantaged.
提到了这个各国合
And
规
you
的
have
这个问题，那么这个
mentioned
商品的
the
信息怎么样在
compliance
符合各国安全
in
的这个
different
前提
countries
下，做
and
到顺畅的
how
进入。
can these cargoes be smoothly
这个合规这个事情
transport to
我
different
就简单说
countries
因为
in line with
这个合规性
compliance.
我们主要是看这个国际上的话，它各个国家的规定不一样。
Internationally,
这个
different
是
countries
在
has
供应链
different
上是一个
compliance
国内
regulations,
那么这个时候
and
我们就
there are
有
maybe
的话就是
some
在跟上面
obstacles.
中央的了解。一般来讲，我们目前提出的基本方案
Generally
就是
speaking,
还
the
是比较
basic
低的
plan
就
is
是
to
比那个各国的东西也不太合适，以后最后想是按国际组织的一个规
we
定。
will comply with in line with the international
金
regulations,
融的贸易的
like in
各种
finance,
环境的
trade,
但是每
environmental
一个
protection.
各个组织它的规
But
定不一
every
样
different
但它们的相
organizations
对的
have
领域
different
它是有一定
regulations,
条例
but
性的
in a
而且呢，
specific
这个从
area,
某种意义上讲，各个政府可能也更容易接受。
we took the plans that different governments could accept.
一般大家是接受不了，这样是，所以说这个东，而且我们在研究调查中也发现，
In the
很多国家像
research, we found that
比方说现在说
in many different countries, they are also in line with international regulations.
他不会做，他也不知道该怎么做，所以
And some countries, they didn't know how to do it.
所以这个
So
在做。我这边就总的就说一下，就是各个组织虽然它都不一样，
although different organizations have different remarks,
各个国际组织它的关键点不一样，但是有3点
but
是
there
每
are
个组织
3
在推的，一
points
个就是
that
国际标准认
are
证。
common. One is the
这个第
international
二个就是
standard
跨境电商的这个规则制定。
recognition and
虽然难，但是
cross-border
必须
e-commerce
对吧？第三个就是说市
regulations,
场垄
and the
断
third, markets
这个有很大争论，但
and
是这个
middle and
跨
small
境电商
sized
现在是可以成为
corporation.
最大的一个契机来崛起，因为各国
The
从
cross-border
经济上
has
研究来看，
gave opportunity
世界各国
for
不管什么样的
small
体
to
制国家
medium-sized
大部分
countries
雇
to
佣的人
develop
都是中小企业。
because they hire the most
大企业它没
workers.
有过不了几个人，对吧？你
But the
很
big
高端的企业
corporations, they hire
就是靠中小
not
企
the
业
most
就看
people.
大家看不起眼的小商小贩，它只是一个国家的。
You may say that small to
但是这个东西
medium-sized
它过去它做
corporations
不了
are
尤其像
not
国际贸易说能够挣钱，甚至在国内长途贩运
very
它也
big,
做不
but
了
they hire many
它因为
people.
它规模小，所以现在跨境电商
They
对
are
它是一个
in
很大的
small scale, so the cross-border
另外一个就是市
is
场。
a great platform to support their development. So another problem
怎么样
that
垄断因为你一垄断，中小企业肯定没戏了。所以这3个大问题应该是在目前在
so at present in compliance and different NGOs
平
and
这3个大问题，还有别的一些问题。
in recent
谢
years
谢院长，
they
我
are
想这应该是
tackling
在
these
座的企业家们
problems.
提笔记的这3个点哈。好，我们再次把掌声送给这一轮的每一位
Okay,
嘉宾，
thank you
谢谢你
again
们，
for
谢谢你们的
every
分享，
speakers.
谢
Thanks
谢。
for your sharing. Thank
有
you.
请，有请，谢谢谢谢。
Please have your seats.
哎，谢谢，好，感谢各位嘉宾。刚才呢，我们是经过
Thank
了
you,
2轮的
dear
这个话题
guests.
主题的研讨的
In the
环
last
节，
two
也听到
panel
了各位
discussions,
来宾
we
给我们带来的
heard some
非常有意思的分享。
insightful
在第二轮
sharing
的我们
from
的交流当
speakers,
中呢，
and
各
in the
位谈
second
到的
round,
是跨
many
境与
speakers
安
talked
全。
about
我
the
们印象非常深
cross-border
刻的每一位来宾都做了一个分享，比如说来自荷兰的
supply
艾杰蒙
chain
先
and
生，
tr-
他特别提
security,
到了来说，对于作为一
especially
个欧洲重
the
要的一
speaker
个
from
物流协
Holland.
会，
He
他
said
觉得数
as
字
an
化和数据的
important
分享非常的重要，
association,
数字
the
化的进程将让
digitalization, the
在这个产业链上
visibility
每一
is
个
very
链条上每一个
important.
环节上的
In every part
stakeholder
in
这
this
个都能够分享到及时的分享到
chain,
信
the
息，
stakeholders
而且他
can
认
get
为数字化呢
information,
也是赋能安全的一
and
个重要的前提。
digitalization
那之后
can
呢，我
also
也听到我们的
facilitate
嘉宾是从
security.
无论从支付的角度，从物
And
流企业
also,
的角度，
we
从航
heard
空的
about
角度
opinions
都
from
聊到了
payment,
数字化能够
logistics,
赋能企业和产业链未来的
and
发展，以
air
及稳定的
freight
安全的全球供应链。那接下
to
来呢，就
forge
让
a
我们进入今
stable
天的案例分享的环
global
节。
supply
第一
chain.
位案例分
Then
享的
the
嘉宾，他
case
是他
sharing
将与我们分享
segment.
是关于这个中
The
国
first
人工智能和数字
speaker
化
will
转型
share
的案
about
例。让我
the
们掌声
case
欢迎
in
达菲集团亚太区数字化创新总监 Mr. Florian Oliver, Head of Digitalization and Innovation of CMA CGM APAC. Please，掌声欢迎。
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm extremely happy, honored, pleased to be here today, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here. I'm today having a few minutes to share with you what CMA-CGM is doing in terms of AI and digital transformation, especially in China. Quickly, CMA-CGM is led by Rodolphe Saadé. Today, we are a global player in terms of sea, land, and air transportation and shipping and logistics and media, employing about 160,000 employees across the world. That's representing 10,000 in China. And we have our headquarters that are based out of Marseille. I heard earlier about the port of the authorities of Utah. We actually also own the port of Los Angeles, and I guess we have frequent communication together through US relationships. Our operations in China, we have started since 1992, so been a while we have been placed here, and since that we have had for CMA-CGM shipping only 1,500 collaborators in China, and for our logistic division, SIVA, about 10,000 that are placed in China as well. We represent multiple brands, CMA-CGM, APL, ANL, CNC, and of course, SIVA Logistics. Now, with that said, I wanted to share a bit what we are doing in terms of AI innovation, and especially in China. So it's starting with our employees. AI is the opportunity to empower our employees and to give them the ability to do more on a day-to-day basis. So we gave all of our employees, both in China and in other parts of the world, access to their own agent assistant that they have called Maya. And this tool is specific to China in order to comply with local regulations. For our customers, they have access to multiple AI tools or AI-driven tools. First one is our loyalty program, which gives them the ability to choose what are the best solution and the best mobility solution they may have. And the second one is a carbon calculator. We know that decarbonation is at the heart of what needs to happen in the coming days and months and years. By 2050, we will be net zero. And with that, we give access to carbon calculation directly when our customers are placing a booking. And earlier today also, Jesper talked about the fact that we shouldn't be working in silos. We should connect with third parties. And yes, indeed, we are doing this. And we are collaborating with the authorities. We are collaborating with the taxis. And for instance, with the Thunder platform in China, all of our customers have access to their Fapia online wherever they want, and they can immediately pay online also through bank integrations. On top of this, we don't limit artificial intelligence to usages. We also have created QTI, which is a fundamental research and development center that is today based out of France, but we are looking into expanding it further with the ambition to find the new ways, the new fuels for the next generation LLMs, the next generation agents that will be needed in terms of logistics artificial intelligence. I said it, we have taken a pledge to be net zero by 2050, and today it's happening, of course, with new carbon neutral fuels, which China is a leader on this, but it's also coming out of optimization of our routing, which happens thanks to AI. We have 3 fleet centers placed across the world that will measure and monitor all of our 700 vessels and will define the best routing for each of them in order to reduce as much as possible their carbon emissions. And finally, we have discussed about the risks today about our supply chain, and we provide solutions for our customers in order to measure, anticipate, integrate data into their systems through IoT, through AI, in order to have visibility as to what's happening, anticipate, plan for the future, and adapt to changing conditions that can happen, even if we include geopolitical risks into it. So, in a nutshell, we are today doing a lot. We are willing to carry on. We are waiting for these type of forums to exchange ideas and to find new ways to fuel our growth. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oliver. Thank you for sharing. 谢谢。感谢。那么接下来要给我们做分享的这位嘉宾，
Next
他带
speaker
来的分享的主题是以数字之力链通全球。
with digital power connecting with the globe. Let's welcome Mr. Tang Jiacai, Chief Information Officer of Industrial Bank Co. Limited. Welcome. Respected Chairman, Mr. Nie, dear leaders, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good afternoon. I'm very honored to be here, to be invited to engage in this important session. I can share with you all of the resources and different topics here. With digital power, we can connect with the whole world. I want to share with you our business operation of AI plus our business industry chain, and the lifeline of the industrial chain is finance. Whether it is expert from Visa or the other experts, they have mentioned in international financing and cross-border transaction and cross-border settlement, capital restraints are quite resilient and quite salient. We have the large language model and AI-driven development, international trade, international settlement have enjoyed a new facilitation. So the Council has released AI plus action plan and implementation regulation methods. At the national level, we can promote AI plus finance. This is the way for us. For Industrial Bank Co. Limited, in terms of AI, we have followed digitalization method. This is the foundation for us. We believe the prerequisite of smart intelligence is digitalization. From 2022, we have confirmed that digital transformation is our very survival. We have promoted it, and we have also upped the game. And we have made some important fruits as well. I can list some data here. In recent years, in terms of investment, each year we have invested over 8 billion. In terms of scientific talents, in terms of transformation, from over 1,000 before transformation to 8,000 manpower after transformation, post-transformation. We have 5-in-1. We have the smart computing center in Gui'an. We have 8,000 computing cabinets, and you can see in terms of the smart scenario exploration, we have the solid foundation. At the same time, at the intelligent level, at the national level, during the 15th five-year plan, during the new round of five-year plan, digital and smart has become one of the major trends, and our chairman has led the way, working with industry experts to promote this action plan. Let's look at the international certificates. Certificates are crucial in financial sector. The most common business such as letter of credibility and a letter of trust. And you can see before 2022, in the international business, we have faced a lot of challenges. For example, business development, and we have relied on the manpower. In terms of OCR, We have limited digitization. Our business has been on the rise, and our business growth has been influenced. At the same time, in terms of the human experience, we rely on expert experience. We face a lot of compliance issues. From 2022, we have determined to use digitalization and smart methods to distribute dividend power. As three steps. First is for different businesses, we can have the businesses online, and in terms of the systems, from 2022, we have used digital method in terms of the different bills and the different payment. We can make it into the formats, and in terms of we reduce 50% of the workload.
但是业务线上化呢，从25%提升到60%。那么第二个阶段呢，是我们通过智能识别用小模型的手段
intelligent recognition, we have tackled the problem of single mode input, and from 2024 we have used joint data, and in the whole process we reshape the chain for the single mode input, and the efficiency has improved to 60%.
这些这个片子上数字我就不念了。那么智能化这部分呢，我们再把它
For the intelligent part, there are three parts. The first one is the full-line online service.
这个白名单处理以及呢
from the white list management, and there's some core procedures to make it better and better regulate. And in every aspect, we use intelligent manners to improve efficiencies. But finally, these works need human to do the work, and the intelligence do the as an helping actor. At the same time, in innovation of intelligence and digitalization, industry level blockchain is also an important technical way. So, in this part, especially the digital RMB, People's Bank has awarded 12 banks, and we were among them. And in this part, we have done a lot of work. And not a long time ago in Shanghai, we were the first institute to share our experience, and we thought in this way we could improve efficiency of payments. Some experts said that cost maybe 1 day, but now it's real time. By the above practices, we hope that we can predict or to summarize the experience that you can use. In the past years' practice, we think the data is a critical part in the giant mode, and we have specific data to help the core competition, make us competitive, and at the same time, how can we work with customs and some air freight corporations, logistic corporations to integrate those data to better serve the supply chain, industrial chain, and also the standardization of business procedure, and also the foundation of business platforms. And there are some thoughts on my mind is that one of the most important promoter is the AI. In the industry of bank, we deal with many data, so by applying AI, it's also our social responsibility by the digitalization and intelligent banks to help corporations to conduct cross-border business. And the core of our data management, the capability, the business procedures, the standardization of, and the enableness of AI. It's like you're driving a vehicle with a steam car. If you not restrict the business procedure, use traditional ways, it will be an obstacle. So that's my sharing for today. We hope that we can contribute our efforts to corporations going abroad. Thank you. And the last expert that will share with us is Mr. Zhang Zhiqiang, Chairman of Shanghai Corporation Limited. Welcome. Distinguished guests and friends, good afternoon. It's a great honor to be here in Beijing on this dynamic platform for the China Expo and talk with you this common interest topic, how AI reshaping global supply chain. And based on our exploration and practice, hope to invite some valuable insights. There are three parts that I want to share. Firstly, the time, the background. We see the opportunities and challenges facing supply chains. But at the same time, we face the real-time challenges, the geographical conflicts. So the global supply chain is very fragile. The compliance is also the core theme that we must face. It's like an iceberg, and the complex of the international landscape. The traditional manic operation cannot meet the demand for today's situation, and the data are not visible. Does not facilitate this whole process. That's what we stand on. And AI has been a core engine to facilitate this process, and the market has also proven that is true. And annual scale has been increasing by 20% annually. The key to the global supply chain is AI. Next. We'll get insight in the application trends in AI today. AI is not limited to chain sector, but also the application executive level in terms of intelligent prediction, optimization, autonomous decision. these applications profoundly transforming how supply chain operate.
So
I highlight compliance as key value area enabled by AI. Cross-border trade compliance is essential knowledge and rule-intensive domain. AI not only enhances audit efficiency, but also builds robust risk defense, providing solid support for enterprises expanding globally. Based on these insights, Signal Flag was born as a national high-tech enterprise specializing in AI-driven custom compliance solution. Shanghai Certificate, specialized, refined, unique, and innovative company. Our mission is to decode global regulations and shape a compliant future through intelligent solutions. Now we have gained recognitions from many from markets. And behind this, our philosophy of technology plus compliance, we believe that only through deep integration of technology and business operations, we can truly address challenges. So we assembled a multidisciplinary team comprising top AI experts, and so that will provide practical scenarios and decision-making support for AI applications for more core competitive advantage. And another case is the product that we created. It's called AI Custom Clearance Solution. We enabled automated process product classification, and we simplified Then I will share two physical cases. The first is that empowering cross-border logistics, they face a big challenge. And by employing AI custom clearance resolution, and we can give them the information about the entrance mark, and then we provide them with clear benefits. So their efficiency has improved from 4 hours to 10 minutes. They have now negative cases on this part. The second case is e-commerce cooperation. They are facing the problem of invisibility. So by injecting our solution to their cases, they have gained high additional valued services. So by these solutions, the satisfactory rate of this client has increased by 5%, and the value-added services has given them more orders and got increase in their income. So this kind of logistic operations has gained core competitive ability. At last, let's look into the future. Our vision is not only to compliance core, but also build global trade intelligence, and to actively serve and collaborate with different parts from B2B supply chain to make connectivity and enabler of the supply chain and with different industries to build a data-driven, secure new ecosystem with AI. AI has brought transformation, and let's take this opportunity to break barriers and link to the world and look into the future into a more efficient, resilient supply chain, industrial chain. This is a QR code that you can search for the information in terms of our business. So if you have more questions, you can leave comments on it. Thank you. Corporations, if you have the demand for AI custom clearance solution, you can connect with this information. Thanks for your sharing. And thank you all the guests. We have been here for more than 3 hours. Let's give a warm applause to all the speakers today. Thanks for their sharing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the 4th China Expo themed event has come to an end. Thank you all. And you can scan QR code on screen to follow the mini program to search for the information for opportunities and other services. Thanks again for our strategic partners. Thanks for your support. Hope you have good health and smooth work. See you.